Zechariah chapter 8. 7 Oracles, Judah and Zion restored. Then the word of the Lord of hosts came. Thus says the Lord of hosts. I am intensely jealous for Zion, stirred to jealous wrath for her. Thus says the Lord. I have returned to Zion, and I will dwell within Jerusalem. Jerusalem will be called the faithful city, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus says the Lord of hosts. Old men and old women will again sit in the streets of Jerusalem, each with staff in hand because of old age. The city will be filled with boys and girls playing in its streets. Thus says the Lord of hosts. Even if this should seem impossible in the eyes of the remnant of this people in those days, should it seem impossible in my eyes also? Oracle of the Lord of hosts. Thus says the Lord of hosts. I am going to rescue my people from the land of the rising sun, and from the land of the setting sun. I will bring them back to dwell within Jerusalem. They will be my people, and I will be their God, in faithfulness and justice. Thus says the Lord of hosts. Let your hands be strong, you who now hear these words, which were spoken by the prophets, when the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid for the building of the temple. For before those days, there were no wages for people, nor hire for animals. Those who came and went were not safe from the enemy. For I set neighbor against neighbor. But now I will not deal with the remnant of this people as in former days. Oracle of the Lord of hosts. For there will be a sowing of peace. The vine will yield its fruit. The land will yield its crops, and the heavens will yield their dew. I will give all these things to the remnant of this people to possess, just as you became a curse among the nations, O house of Judah and house of Israel. So will I save you that you may be a blessing. Do not fear, let your hands be strong. Thus says the Lord of hosts. Just as I intended to harm you, when your ancestors angered me, says the Lord of hosts, and I did not relent, so again in these days I intend to favor Jerusalem and the house of Judah. Do not fear. These then are the things you must do. Speak the truth to one another. Judge with honesty and complete justice in your gates. Let none of you plot evil against another in your heart, nor love a false oath. For all these things I hate. Oracle of the Lord. 3 Oracles, Judah and the nations. The word of the Lord of hosts came to me. Thus says the Lord of hosts. The fast days of the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, and the 10th months will become occasions of joy and gladness, and happy festivals for the house of Judah. So love faithfulness and peace. Thus says the Lord of hosts. There will yet come peoples and inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of one city will approach those of another, and say, Come, let us go to implore the favor of the Lord, and to seek the Lord of hosts. I too am going. Many peoples and strong nations will come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, and to implore the favor of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts.